Give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah in the name of His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, this day. We bless His Kadesh Shabbat and are thankful for another opportunity to wade through the Word. So with that being said, the 5th chapter of John and the 39th verse begins as such. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote in me. But if you don't believe his writings, how shall you believe my word? Let's take it back to 1 Corinthians, the 14th chapter. That's where we was at on Wednesday to lead up to what we going to discuss this evening. Ain't going to try to, shalom, man. It's always good to see you, man. You know what I mean? And we're going to try to delve into something. We still delving with manhood. And then one of the things that we discussed in 1 Corinthians 14, because he was talking about how not to speak in an unknown tongue when it doesn't edify or benefit anyone. And that if you were going to do something for the edification and benefit of those who heard. And then he ended it with this 1 Corinthians 14 and 20. He say, brethren, be not children in understanding, how be it in malice be you children, but understanding be men. So what can this mean? Let's take a trip to Psalms 119, because of course he's talking about speaking in tongues, but we're going to paint a little broader brush in regards to manhood on what he was discussing. I want you to come over here to Psalms 119. I want you to pick it up at verse 97. And when you looking at being in understanding, be a man. And of course, we've dealt with husbands. Dwell with your wives according to knowledge. Because in order to have understanding, you need to have knowledge and you need to have wisdom. But if you don't have the knowledge and wisdom of what it is scripturally to be a man, then there's no way to understanding that you're going to be a man. Because when you look at doing something as the benefit of an understanding, be a man, of what he is stating, it's stating that if you're having understanding, then that means your words and your actions benefit those around you, which is going to take you in regards of the examples that we looked at as being a man, as someone who is learned, someone who is educated, and someone who adds value, and also someone who is an inspiration, and someone who is a leader. So I'm gonna tell you something. I listen to all type of stuff because I am an individual that since I've been old enough that I can remember, that enjoy diverse thought patterns and perspectives. It doesn't matter if I agree with it. It doesn't matter if I don't agree with it. I just like to hear other people's perspectives and how they think. Some people's humor is hilarious to me. Some people's humor, well, you'll look at it and be like, that's not funny. But see, that's the beauty of being human and being unique. You understand? That's the beauty of you being you. But see, a brother I know asked this question, and then it was a relevant question because he was like, word, for real, you know what I mean? It's because, and the reason I done told y'all this before, because it's good to understand how people think, because you can be able to relate to them, even if you don't agree. See, we live in a society now that if you don't agree with somebody, people take it. See, I'm gonna tell you something real too. The first hallmark you know you're not dealing with a man is if this man disagree with you and he gets emotional. If his reaction is to get emotional, not passionate, but angry and hostile and belligerent. This is a man who lacks emotional control. He can't even, and emotional intelligence. He can't even say he's a man because he can't even govern how he feels in regards to how he reacts. That is immature behavior. A man of understanding is not going to react in that fashion. Because you could be passionate about something and not be angry. And if you and you should be wise enough to know the difference between passion and anger. Because somebody who's passionate about something, they just really believe in what they're saying. You just really believe in it. So it can come out as anger or frustration, and that's not necessarily the case. But when you're looking at being an understanding man and being an understanding being a man, then you understand that you're seeking to benefit someone other than yourself with what you have to bring. Like one of the things I always mention to y'all, right? You can't tell me you're a good woman because you cook and clean. That doesn't make you a good woman. It's a lot of women who cook and clean who are horrible women. You can't tell me you're a good man because you provide, because it's a lot of horrible individuals that pay bills. It doesn't make you, you're not an alpha man by proxy, you know what I'm saying, because you pay bills. Because there's numerous different ways for individuals to provide substance to their people, to their family, to the people as a whole. And we don't look at those things, and we don't look at those things because, let's just be honest, a majority of men have absolutely nothing to offer other than their penis. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't have anything substantive to offer, period. Now, of course, that recommendation and a recommendation to listen to it. And with full disclosure, I messed with Killer Mike. I had just watched the interview that he just did with Joe Rogan when they was on a smorgasbord of different topics that were definitely diverse than what he spoke on the Breakfast Club about. But those things that this man was discussing were things of how these men, which in their understanding, were adding value to a generation coming behind them, or having the desire and intent to add something to these youths, to the youth, to give them something beneficial that can rest with them for a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? See, now we live in a society, everybody want to have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's fun, 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 fun. And we're not getting nothing that we can take with us for 10, 15, 20 years, which is leaving our children ill-equipped. It's leaving them ill-equipped. And we proud of it. And as I mentioned to y'all before we read this Psalms 119 and verse 97, when you look at, like when I told y'all about trusting the school system to teach your children alone, that is just being intellectually, mentally, and emotionally lazy. And instead of looking at ourselves and say, how can I be of value and benefit to my children? We show our immaturity by making excuses to remain intellectually, mentally, and emotionally lazy. And that ain't cool. That's not cool. But we don't want to look at it in that fashion. So, and the reason why I'm running it down in this fashion, because Hamashiach is the head of our household. This is literally the head of our household. This has been stated in the epistles. This is stated in the law. This is stated in the prophets. This is the head of our household. And the head of our household was not intellectually, mentally, emotionally, nor spiritually lazy when it came to adding value and benefits to his children. Because it was more important for him to expend every ounce of himself that his children could be better than him than for him to enjoy himself. Now, that's something that we have to consider as men if we say we godly men and walk in this man's pathway. Psalms 119 and verse 97. He said, oh how love I your Torah. It is my meditation all the day. Thou, through thy commandments, have made me wiser than my enemies, for they are ever with me. So his word allows you to be wiser than those who hate you because his word is ever with you. Pause. Come on over here to John 14. And you know, this is beneficial for the ladies. Don't think it's not beneficial for the ladies, because anything that deal with the word is beneficial to whomever it hears. But let's just be real. John 14 and 15. Let's just be real, right? When we look at the state of black people, there is a void, a vacuum of leadership. And it's a vacuum. And see, when you look at leadership, and I heard Killer Mike say something that is the realest thing that I've ever heard in a very, let me say ever heard, one of the realest things I've heard in a very, very long time. I know that I've done it personally, and I respect him wholeheartedly. So you could ascend into a position of leadership that you're not prepared for. And that if you seen that there was somebody else who had the skills, the capabilities to handle it, you would cede to them and allow them to do so, even if they were female. See, and that's the aspect of being an olive man, because that's humility, because you're not going to let your pride get in the way, say, I'm a man, I can do it. I'm a leader. When you in reality, you know you're not, and you overcompensating for your deficiency because you just don't want to acknowledge, hey, that's not my strong suit. But I know that brother such and such strong suit, baby, you handle that and do your thing. Because it was more important to have success in the endeavor than for you to stroke and feed your ego. You know what I'm saying? That's what a man does. That's why when Mashiach came up and he seen his apostles arguing about who the greatest, he like, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? Gentiles exercise authority over another. That ain't going to be the case with y'all, man. You tripping. That's why he came and told him, you say I'm your Lord and Master, and that's so, and I washed your feet. Who cares about all of that? Who cares? The only person who cares is the ego. Your pride cares. Because you don't want nobody to see you can't do something. I don't know if that's I don't think that's a black thing. I think that's an American thing where you got dudes that just feel like they got to show and prove that they can do any and everything. Man, it's okay if you don't know how to do something, man. I promise it is. It's okay if you're not proficient in the area and you acknowledge that you're not. You don't have to make a fool of yourself trying to do something you don't know how to do. Ain't no shame in saying I need help. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not proficient in this. We need to get this brother over here and do it because I know he can handle it. That's your pride won't let you do that. That's your ego won't let you do that. That's not cool. Because guess what? Our sons and our nephews, they watch that, and then they grow up to be idiotic men in the same. And guess what? That cycle continues. Because now we're looking outside of ourselves for things that don't matter to define ourselves as being men, when all we got to do is look at a Mashiach and see what he did and follow that and add that to your character. See, when we talk about going through this text, we talk about taking this stuff and adding it to your character, making that your character. Remember, your character is what you do. Your personality is who you are. And we're not taking on godly character. We flogging and we fronting. You don't really want to accept the fact that that's not the person you want to be. That's not who you are. And you're not willing to do the work necessary to be who you want to be. So you rather fake it. That ain't cool. That fake it till you make it stuff ain't what's happening, man. If that's not who you are, then put in the work to become who you want to be. Don't pretend. Don't be lazy. Do the work. That's it. There's no secret formula. There's no secret sauce. There's no shortcuts. Just do the work. And what is the work? He said to believe on him whom Elohim has sent. We read it Wednesday. Just do the work. I'm going to tell y'all something real, man. Nothing worth having in this life is going to come without pain and without sacrifice and without work. And if anybody tell you anything other, they lying. Well, and I ain't talking about somebody doing pain to you. Pain because things that are worth having are painful because of the things that you have to endure to achieve the goal. Being an entrepreneur is painful. Regardless of how the world try to sensationalize it and make it seem like it's the coolest and greatest thing in the earth, it is painful and it's hard work and you have to make sacrifices and everybody ain't willing to do that. Dealing with this word, this man said, you got to suffer with me to reign with me. So that means there's going to be pain and there's going to be sacrifice and it's going to be work. In order to attain the Ruach HaKodesh, you got to go through that. You're not going to buck that. And see, that's the problem. You don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to make the sacrifices and you don't want to do the work, but you want to reap the benefits. That's not a man. That's a little child. That's a little boy. That's immaturity, all naturally or spiritually. And we have to move past that. If we saying we represent the living God, who cares what the world doing? In regards to what we mentioning right now, we say we the living God. We supposed to be a light to these people. Why would you got to sit back and ask yourself a question. What type of manhood are you exemplifying that somebody would want to serve your God because they knew you and they weren't serving him already? What you doing that say, you know what, I'm interested in serving your God? What example of manhood are you showing that they can sit back and say, boy, I see Jesus in him? You have to look at that. You have to think about that. What type of inspiration you giving to say somebody, I would like to inquire about your God. I would like to inquire about it. Do you have wisdom? Do you have understanding? Do you have knowledge? Do you have patience? Do you have joy? Do you have long suffering? Are you possessed with humility? Are you generous? Are you a man of value? Do you know how to lead? Do you know who you are? Do you seek validation? Are you sensitive? Are you self-sacrificing? Are you cooperative? Do you have a purpose? Do you read? Can you think? What can you provide besides a bill and a penis? Let's look at what our God provided. John chapter 14, verse 15. Let's look at what he provided. So that we can have that understanding, so we could be men in it. After we read John 14 and 15, we'll take a trip down memory lane. Matter of fact, pause. Let's take a trip down memory lane right now and get there Proverbs 4 and 4. Make it 4 and 2. Let me grab another book real fast that got 1 John in it. I say this here because every last man on this stream who may watch it later has the capability, shalom, to be great. You have the capability to be great. Remember what this book tells us. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So because your God called you to his gospel of his son, you have the capabilities of achieving greatness through Yahushua HaMashiach. But you're going to have to be willing to take the pain, make the sacrifices, and have to be willing to do that. And if you're not, you don't want to be great. This will work for now. Greatness is a choice. And that word is thrown around liberally in this day and time. Because most people ain't great, ain't did nothing great, ain't came close to doing nothing great. Because you ain't willing to do it. And also to be able to achieve anything, you got to have patience. Because see, you want what you want right now. So when it don't come when you want it, you get frustrated or you no longer interested. And now you want to go over here and do something else. That's a sign of a weak-minded person. A person who can't see something through, that's a sign of a weak mind because you don't have the fortitude inside of you to push through the pain or to overcome obstacles. When you see an obstacle, when you have a defeat, when there's a failure, or when you make a mistake, you harp on the failure, you harp on the mistake, you harp on the obstacle versus how you can overcome that obstacle, how you can correct that mistake. What did you do wrong so you don't do that again? And that's the wrong type of mindset, because it's really about mindset and the way that you think. Because the way that you think is going to dictate how you react. And how you react is going to dictate what you do. And what you do is going to dictate what you get. Proverbs chapter 4, man. We can pick it up at verse 1. Say, hear you children, the instruction of a father, attend to no understanding. He wants you to attend or to have labor, do work. Make it your business to know what understanding is. In understanding, don't be children was his statement. And malice be children. And understanding be men. And again, context of what a statement was coming from is don't speak in tongues and don't nobody understand you versus speaking in tongues where everybody can be edified. Everybody knows what's being said and everyone is benefiting from what you have. And if you had understanding, you would know that. So when you look at it to a man, what do you possess that is a benefit to everyone around you? Then when you look at Yahushua, and we can look back and look at how an understanding he was a man. And this is coming to a point that we're going to deal with that is rooted out of being bold. He says, for I give you good doctrine, forsake you not my Torah. For as my father's son, tender, only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said unto me, let thy heart retain my word, keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. If you're able to attain to wisdom, that wisdom should be able to give you the insight. And that insight, see, remember, wisdom is the skill in war. Understanding is when to know when to use the skill. Wisdom is the skill in war. Understanding is to know when and how to use it. And that's what we lack in this day and time. We don't know when and how to do things. Hold on, everyone. You got to know when and how to use it. That's why I say, be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Know how to war, but know when and how to use it. Come on back to John chapter 14. We're still holding Psalms 119. John 14 to 15. If you love me, keep my commandments. This is John 14 and 15. And I will pray, Abba, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you forever. Even the Ruach of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it see him not, neither know him. But you know him, for he'll dwell with you, and he shall be in you. So, remember, we talked about this on Wednesday. My words are plain to him that understand. And we were talking about that in regards to those with the gospel. With that word, as this forth, as he talking about speaking in tongues. I think it's about verse 15 to 17, somewhere in there, where he was saying, when I'm speaking in tongues, I'm going to sound like a barbarian to this person who don't know what I'm saying. So when you come through and you remember, when you're dealing with someone who is not spiritually discerned, when you're dealing with someone who is carnal, when you begin to discuss spiritual things, even if you're talking about just flipping it and making it a natural, when you're talking about adult, mature thought processes, actions, and perspectives, it sounds like nonsense to a person with an immature mind. You sound stupid to them. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And see, the one thing about an immature mind is you can't tell them anything. They already got it all figured out, and they can't learn nothing. Or they're like Jeroboam. Let's look at Jeroboam. Hold John 14. Come over to 1 Kings chapter 12. This is an example of what I'm talking about. This ain't being a man right here. See, this is the part of the spiritual or mental immaturity that we're referring to. 1 Kings chapter 12. First Kings chapter 12. Make it verse 4. 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 4. Well, verse 3. That they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Yasharal came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee. And he said unto them, Depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, How do you advise that I may answer this people? They spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and will serve them, and answer them, and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. He told him to serve them in humility. He said, if you serve these people and you lead by the example of which you want them to do, they will serve you forever. See, most men feel like they have to guerrilla pimp or be harsh and brash to get someone to submit to you. But in reality, a woman is only going to submit to a man that she respects. If she does not respect you, she will never submit to you. And just dealing with the word alone is not going to make her respect you. Just paying bills or pulling your meat out is not going to make her respect you. It's going to be your mindset and your character is what's going to cause her to respect you. What type of man you truly are. And most individuals, like I say, are overcompensating. And then over time, this woman see what type of man you are, and they don't respect you. And then you getting upset with them because she don't respect you. When you really need to look at yourself first to see if it's you before you surmise you just got a rebellious evil woman, because it could be you. Anytime it's a situation, you should never be pointing at the other person. You should be looking at yourself first. That doesn't mean that you're contributing something negative. It just means that your first thought or inclination should be looking at, what am I doing to contribute to this situation, if anything at all? If you don't do that, you're going to be forever a victim, because you're going to blame people for the entirety of your life for when things don't go in the fashion that you want them to go. And why would you live in perpetual victimhood? That's living in a horror movie every day of your life. Verse 5. We're in verse 7, excuse me. No, we're in verse 8. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, which stood before him, and said unto them, what counsel give ye that we may answer this people, who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put on us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, thou shalt speak unto this people, and that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shall you say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now whereas my father did lade you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. And my father have chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. And of course, when he told the people this, they ain't want to fool with him. And they say, what inheritance do we have with David? Man, we out. We out, because this nigga's bugging. This nigga's crazy. But the point of the matter is you had somebody who came and spoke to you with understanding. And you had somebody who spoke to you with foolishness. And you were inclined to the foolishness because you were more inclined to be in line with the foolishness because that was your thought process, which was immature. So you couldn't hear or even understand wisdom, because that should have clicked with him the moment he heard it. He shouldn't even have to go and ask his friends. You'd be like, you know what? That makes absolute sense. You know what? I think we're going to go ahead and roll with that. But see, in his pride and his immaturity, that sounds like the way to go. Let's treat these people like crap. They'll surely love me then. And all it did was bring wars. That's all it did. John chapter 14. And when we talk about bringing wars in this instance, like literal wars, but all it's going to do is it's going to bring you trouble. Ain't nothing good going to come from that. I'm trying to tell you, and understanding he was a child. He was being malicious. He was doing the exact opposite of what Paul was instructing the congregation in Corinth. He decided to be malicious. He decided to be selfish. He decided to be proud. Instead of being a humble leader and leading and serving by example, as his fathers did, as Solomon did, as David did. He chose to go the opposite direction. And it didn't work out for him, as y'all should already know. 14 and 15. John. I think we're in verse 18, though. He said, I will not leave you comfortless. I will come to you. Let a little while and the world see me no more, but you see me because I live, and you shall live also. At that day you shall know that I am in my Abba, and you in me, and I in you. He that hath my commandments and keep them, he it is that love me. He that love me shall be loved of my Abba, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him. Judas saith unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world? Yahushua answered and said unto him, man, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Abba will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. He that love me not, keep not my sayings, and the word which you hear is not mine, but Abba's which sent me. These things have I spoken unto you, being yet present with you. But the Comforter, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, whom Abba will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I said unto you. Now come back to Psalms 119. Now you see that, right? He said he'll bring back to remember. And the reason why we read all that because of the verse 98 in Psalms 119, because those commandments made you wiser than your enemies. Because remember, it said the world could not receive it, neither see it, nor could know it. And it was forever with you. So you have to sit back and look at that. When you love this man's word and you meditate upon it, you understand that through his word, it makes you wiser than the people who hate you. And therefore, it's going to be forever with you. Listen what he's saying. And again, this leading to something, I promise you this. And from verse 99 and 100, we're going to have to pull it on out the deck right now. He said, I have more understanding than all my teachers, for thy testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients, because I keep your precepts. I have refrained my feet from every evil way, that I may keep your word. See, that's the one of the things that people don't do. You're not stopping your feet from every evil way that you can keep this man's word. You swift to it. Remember, he say feet swift running to mischief. That's an abomination. This man, in order to keep his words, you have to refrain your feet from going in the evil way. He said, I have not departed from thy judgments, for thou hast taught me. How sweet are thy words unto my taste, yea, sweeter than honey to my mouth. Through thy precepts, I get understanding. Therefore, I hate every false way. So hold on. So through this man's word, through his precepts, you get understanding. And that understanding give you more than you get to understand more than the ancients because you keep them. Not only that, you got more understanding than all your teachers because your meditation is his testimony. What could this mean and what could this be pointing us to? How is this possible? Before we continue, Revelation chapter 19. At the end of the day, our objective, one for another, should be one simple tenet, one simple edict. And that is to encourage, inspire, motivate, and push individuals to be a better version of themselves. That's what your friends should be doing. That's what your spouse should be doing. And you got to ask yourself, do you provide that? Or are you resistant to that? And I ain't talking about just the mental man on either side. Do you provide that or are you resistant to that? Are you resistant to being challenged and held accountable to be the best version of yourself? Did you even have that thought process when you selected the person that you wanted to be with, that this individual could assist in the journey of helping you on the way of being the best version of yourself? Do you think about with the people who you hang with? I've been told you this here, and I felt like this when I was a jit, and when I heard 50 Cent say he just put it in work. How can you kick it with a nigga who ain't got nothing going on? What can this nigga add in the conversation? Man, all my niggas back in the day told a nigga, man, don't you be hanging with them broke niggas, man. Nigga, you gonna be broke just like them. Stop hanging with them niggas. And they ain't said nothing wrong. How are you even comfortable being around people who have divergent mindsets than you? And this ain't even talking about just no word. How you cool with a nigga who ain't trying to go where you trying to go and do what you trying to do? How does that make sense? This nigga's going to distract you. This nigga's going to deter you. You're not going to you're not going to fulfill your potential. You're not going to maximize your ability because you're wasting time with people who have no desire to do anything with their life. I got niggas like that from around me. Quit about, shoot, I see you around the way, man, it's all good. I might smoke a J with you. I can't kick it with you every day, though, because I'm not on that. I'd rather be by myself than to be around niggas who don't want to do nothing for their life. I don't want that around me. I ain't never wanted that around me. I am comfortable being by myself before I subjugate myself to such horrible mindsets. That junk like AIDS, man, that junk spreads. It spreads. I'm not being funny, dead serious. Like that junk spread, man. Don't hang with no dummies. You know what I'm saying? Don't hang with idiots. Don't hang with niggas who can't control their emotions. Ain't nothing good coming from that. I don't even like to be around niggas who fiscally irresponsible. You know what I'm saying? Because that shows me that you lack emotional intelligence and control. I don't want to be around you because I don't want to pick that up. The book tell you that. Don't hang around an angry man unless he casts a snare on you. Book tell you that, stuff like that, man. This nigga get angry all the time. Next thing you know, you gonna be like that. Say, no, I'm good, yo. I'm straight. I'm straight. People go to look at you, oh, that nigga acting funny, man. That nigga think he better than somebody. I don't think I'm nothing. Clearly, you see the deficiencies in your own self. That's why you're talking like that. You'd be surprised how many times people project their insecurities and their faults and their shortcomings on you because you like, nah, I'm good, bro. I don't want that around me. Like if I was a woman, I couldn't hang with no chick who was no whore. You around here hitting all, running through all these niggas, man, get your, man, no, absolutely not. Because guess what? Peer pressure something else, boy. And then you weak, next thing you know, you around here tooting and booting everybody come by. Next thing you know, you got to look at the people you around because they going to set the way that you think. Because y'all are exchanging ideas, because you're exchanging words, which means you're exchanging thoughts and perspectives because you're having conversations. You're exchanging that. Niggas always were talking about, what do niggas call that junk, man? Soul ties. Nigga, ain't no soul tie from putting your penis in no woman, but you definitely get a soul tie because you can get tired of people's mentality when you hang with them and have conversations with them. Your mentality, their mentality can become yours. That's more dangerous than getting in between somebody's legs. Is being around somebody and picking up the way that they think. If the way that they think is not productive and conducive to anything positive or beneficial for anyone outside of yourself. That's more dangerous. Way more dangerous. Why you think the book tell you to guard your heart? Book tell you about this stuff. Mentalities is way more dangerous. Way, way, way more dangerous. Revelation chapter 19. And I'm missing my verse. That's because I was looking right past it. Revelation 19 and 7. And what I just said is still relevant to the script that we finna pull out in just a moment. So praise be to y'all for that. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come. And his wife made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. He saith unto me, right Baruch are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of Elohim with pause, you know. Because that is a true statement. Blessed are you if you're called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Now I'm thinking about something, right? Something come to my head. And I want to go grab it real quick. I want to come over here to Luke chapter 14. Let's come over here to Luke chapter 14. Yeah, I think it's Luke 14 that I desire. I didn't want to grab it real quick. Luke chapter 14, about, verse 15. You know, when that gospel rang out, declared, proclaimed, extolled, mentioned, spoken, uttered, and any other adjective you can think of to describe the dissemination of words. You're being called to a meal. I just had a conversation the other day. But I'm just trying to make sure, you know what I'm saying? We were young. My nigga used to have a saying. And most of us co-opted it. Well, not most of us. I know I did. I think all the homeboy co-opted it. Well, at least two of us, maybe three of us co-opted it. He said, you can call me anything you want, just don't call me late for dinner. You know what I'm saying? Because when you say you calling me late for dinner, that means that I ain't on top of my stuff, so I'm going to miss my meal. I'm going to miss what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to miss what I'm seeking to earn. And man, people could call me anything they want to call me. But God forbid they call me late for dinner, because I mean I done missed the marriage supper of the Lamb because I ain't hear that call. I didn't hear that trumpet when it blew. So that means I didn't get up out of bed when it was time to get up to come get breakfast. Think about that. I missed the call when it was time to go home because I was entertaining these stupid niggas over here. Matter of fact, since I said that, just move over 2 chapters. Just 2 chapters. That's all. Just 2 chapters. Luke chapter 12, verse 42, verse 41. You don't want to miss that call, man. I promise you don't want to miss that call. There's a reason why he say, blessed are those who are called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. You don't want to miss that call I'm trying to tell you. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speak thou unto this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? See, I'm going to give you what you earn at the time appointed. Baruch is that servant whom his Lord, when he comes, shall find so doing. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he have. But if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delay his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and the maidens, and to eat and drink and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he look not for him, and at an hour when he's not aware, and will cut him asunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. Oh no. See, you thought it was a game, and see, you was over there playing. So you wanted to live your best life and live it up and skin and grin with the transgressors and unbelievers and the hypocrites. And he said, I'm going to give you that same portion, nigga, because you thought it was a game. Because when I called you, you didn't hear. And when I spoke, you didn't answer. So he said, I gave you over to a strong delusion, that your fears may come upon you. Did what he told you. Well, let me tell y'all something, man. It's all jokes aside. It don't matter if you preach or not. But if this man call you, you better get your black behind, get up and go and follow this man wherever he go. Period. All that stuff about, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. You don't want to be saved then. Bottom line, period. If that man call you, what you worry about what you trying to do? So you mean to tell me what you trying to do is greater than what he calling you to? Use the definition of an idiot. Definition. Because this man's putting in front of you eternal life, an everlasting kingdom, rulership. What you trying to do? That's not even an even swap, no swindle. Like you really have to, man, look here, man. This man walked past Peter them and said, follow me. This man didn't add no question. They got up and left. Everything. Everything. I'm talking about their jobs, their wives, their kids. Now, of course, they didn't literally not go see their wives and take care of their wives and their children. But I mean, this trumped everything I got going on. That's why this man told you, if you forsake everything that you got, you're going to receive in the kingdom a certain amount. Let's go on and get it since I mentioned it. Matthew chapter 19. We still got that Luke 14 holding on, and Revelation 19, and Psalms 119, and John chapter 5. I didn't mention John chapter 5, but we got it though. And 1 Corinthians 14, just on general principle. But you who are willing, I'll bring that all back out in a moment. I feel good. You know, it's the Lord's day. Every day is his day. But even more so when it's the time. This is like I told you before. Like people look at the Sabbath and ain't got no understanding. They think, oh, it's just the day to sleep. It's the rest day. It's to rest in him, dummy. Not just to sleep all day. This is a 24-hour period where you don't have to be concerned but nobody but the Lord. But we concerned with everything else other than the Lord. Period. I'm tired. I've been working all week. You could be dead, nigga. You thought about that? You could be eternally resting. You could have absolutely nothing. Because you ain't even sat back and thought, let me give thanks. And then on top of that of giving thanks, now I got an opportunity to draw closer to him by knowing him. Do you know that with the ability and the purpose to be able to draw near and closer to someone is to get to know them? And to get to know them is for them to bear themselves to you. So he has bared himself to you so that you would bear yourself to him so that you could draw closer and nearer to him because he wants to draw closer and nearer to you. But all you niggas want to do is draw closer and near to somebody so you can have some sex. So you can get you a mate and have you some sex. Instead of doing that with your God first and letting the chips fall where they may after that. Because that wasn't your concern. And that means that's not your concern because in understanding you're not a man, which is understandable when you come to work because you're a babe. But instead of taking the time to mature and to develop, you do like most little kids do. You're proud, you're stubborn, you're arrogant. Can't nobody tell you nothing. And I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. And I'll just figure it out. And that's idiotic. That's idiotic. And it's only idiotic because that's immature thinking. We could spare ourselves a lot of things if we just prayed about stuff first and took godly counsel and waited on Yah before doing stuff because that's what I wanted to do. I want to do it, so it don't matter. Why learn things the hard way when you could just take your time and be patient and not have to have so many pitfalls and tribulations and pain? Why do that? That's wisdom. I think, yeah, well, I learned a lot of stuff from watching the people around me, and it spared me from having to deal with a lot of the things that them niggas dealt with. Because I learned from what they did. I learned from watching them. I say, you know what, if I ever face a situation like that, I know what not to do, or I know what to do. Or if I face something and my big homie was like, nah, nigga, what's wrong with you? What is you thinking about? I went ahead and took that, whether it was what I wanted to hear or not, because I know this nigga not finna tell me nothing wrong. I know this nigga not finna tell me what I want to hear. I know this nigga's not finna stroke my ego. That's why I went and hollered at him in the first place. Straight up. There was a situation, man, my big homie said, boy, is that junk about some money, my nigga? I'm like, nah, that junk ain't really about no money. That nigga said, oh, so that's about your pride, huh? That nigga said, boy, you leave that alone, go get your money. I said, say less. I said, I feel you because you right. You know what I'm saying? And I already knew that before I went and hollered at him. But I respect his opinion. You know what I'm saying? So I want to hear what he had to say. And I know this nigga was a live wire. So if a nigga would have been, if he'd have been like, well, shoot, nigga, what you want to do? I know he'd have been with it. But he was like, nah, leave that ain't about no money, boy. You need to get you some money. Focus on your money. You can't get no money on that type of time. Leave that alone. I said, work. You right. You right. You know what I'm saying? Say no more. I'm going to go ahead and do what I got to do. That junk ain't hard, man. Our pride don't allow us to accept things that are contrary to what we want to do. You know you shouldn't do it, but you want to do it anyway. That's your pride. Got to let that go. That'll keep you out the kingdom. You got to let that go. Matthew chapter 19. 19 and 26. Make it 25. That's one of the key things in understanding to be a man is to have humility. Because he draw near the humble. That's how you get that ruach, man. You humble yourself. That's how you get it. You ain't got that in your heart, you ain't never going to get it. When the disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, who then can be saved? But Yahushua beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible. But with Elohim, all things are possible. Now watch it. If it was up to us to be saved, we all going to hell. But because of Yahuwah, by Hashem Yahushua, it's possible. But listen what he tell you. Then answered and said unto him, behold, we forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, truly I say unto you that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his esteem, that's right. You shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal. Every one that have forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last and the last shall be first. You got to consider that. He said everybody that's willing to walk away or in reality put me before anything you got going on and following me, because where I am, my servant will be also. I got everlasting life for you. And you're going to get 100-fold more than what you ever thought you could attain. You're going to get 100-fold more than what you ever thought you could do. But you know why we don't believe that? Because you can't see it. It's not tangible to you right now. So you feel like it's just words on the page and it's just an old funny looking nigga talking to you, telling you this. Because you don't believe it. And it don't make no difference to me. I'm fully persuaded. All I'm trying to do is persuade you in the same difference by the word of the gospel. Whether you persuaded or not, Yah knows. I pray open your heart that you may receive it. But if you don't, praise be to Yah in the name of Yahushua. Let his will be accomplished in all things. Back to Luke chapter 14. That's how I see it. Let Yah's will be done. My heart's desire, just like Paul, that all Yasharal be saved. But I can't make you want it. Shoot, ain't even got to be with no word. Can't nobody make you want what you say you want for your life. Can't nobody, your husband can't make you want that. Your wife can't make you want that. Your kids can't make you want that. Your friends can't make you want that. Your parents can't make you want that. You got to want it. You got to be hungry like the werewolf of London. You have to be willing to do whatever is necessary to get stuff accomplished, even if you have to do it yourself with no support. You know what I'm saying? I've had very minimal support in anything that I've sought to do in my entire life. And I never went in and thought about, I ain't got no support, so I ain't gonna be able, I could care less if a nigga support me or not. It don't even cross my mind. Like, it don't even cross my mind. You know what I'm saying? If niggas gonna roll, cool. If they don't, cool. I'll do it myself or I'll find somebody who will. But either way it go, I'm going after that. If I fail, cool. If I don't, cool. But how will I know unless I go and go after that? I'm not gonna know. I'm never gonna find out worrying about what can go wrong. What can I lose? I don't think that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about what can go right and what can I gain. I could care less what I lose. I could care less what could go wrong. That's life. Nothing ever goes 100% to plan. That's life. I learned that very early. Nothing goes 100% to plan. Have the ability to adjust and adapt. If you don't have the ability, especially in business, if you do not have the ability to adjust and adapt, you will perish. You will perish. You know what I'm saying? You have to have that ability. You can't focus on the negative. You can't focus on what's going wrong because it will consume you. And I'm speaking from personal experience. I ain't even talking about what a nigga told me or what I read. I'm talking about what I've experienced. You cannot do it. It's not beneficial for you. And you can't start worrying about who supports you and who don't. Nigga, support yourself. Why you need somebody to support you? Why do you need that? It's cool and it's outstanding if you have it. And I'm not saying that it's not relevant, and I'm not saying that it's not good, but if you didn't have it, would that stop you? That would stop you? Nigga, the stuff I wanted to do, wasn't none of my friends finna support me in that. Them niggas wanted to sell drugs. That had no bearing on what I was seeking to do. No bearing whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I am going to go after this irregardless if you niggas help me or not. Period. Doesn't matter. And you have to have that mindset. Whether this nigga helps or not, whether these niggas support or not, that's weak to be crying about people don't support you. That's weak. That's weak. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it's a negative thing. That means you need to take that weakness in a strength. Lil Stanley asked me that the other day. He was like, you've been pretty much confident your entire life? For the most part, absolutely. 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 The small time period in my physical existence where confidence didn't exist was one of the most horrible time periods in my entire life. And I had no idea how individuals can live without confidence because that is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And I couldn't feel somebody's pain who didn't have it before that time period. That's horrible. I wouldn't want to live like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've always felt like, man, I always tell people, man, you can do whatever you want to do. I always tried to make Muffin believe she could do anything she wanted to do. She said she wanted to play football when she was a little girl. I knew this little girl couldn't play no football, but I wasn't finna tell her that. Do you know what I'm saying? I wasn't finna tell, oh, you can't do that. Not finna tell her what she can't do. If that's what you want to do, then you make sure that you weigh out everything that's involved with it. And if that's what you want to do, then I'm going to be behind you 100%. And you can do it if that's what you want to do. I never, especially a child, man, you don't never shoot, not even an adult. Man, you don't never tell nobody what they can't do. Even if you feel like it's the most far-fetched thing in the world. Well, if that's what you want to do, man, then you can do it and I'm behind you. Whatever you need from me, I got you. But you can do that. You can handle that. Most people really all they need is mental and emotional support. You ain't really got to get your hands dirty. All people really want to know is somebody believe in them. Make sure you do that with your children. Make them believe that they can do whatever. One thing I done always told y'all about through this word is, don't let nobody tell you you can't stop sinning and you can't be godly. That's them. Don't let nobody convince you of that. Have that confidence to know that I can do this. Stop letting people dictate to you what you can and can't do. It's a difference if you're doing something and you ain't doing the work. That's why you can't do it. It's not because you don't have the ability. You're not applying yourself. So you're getting out what you putting in. You ain't putting in nothing. That's why you ain't getting nothing. Luke 14 and 15. That's definitely what my mama told me, my auntie told me, and my granddaddy told me. From the time I can remember, you get out what you put in. Sometimes it might come to you a little slow, but keep on going. I remember that. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? That's that one word. I'm gonna say, where your gumption at? Where your drive and your hunger at for success? Where your drive and hunger at for eternal life? Where your drive and hunger at to sit at your master's table? Where is it at? Luke 14 and 15. And when one of them that sat at meat with him heard these things, he said, this is Luke 14 and 15. Baruch is he that shall eat bread in the kingdom of Elohim. Then said he unto me, a certain man made a great supper and bade many. And he sent his servant at the supper time to come to them that were bidden. Come, for all things are now ready. And they were all with one consent began to make excuse. See what he talking about? Oh, I got to take this trip. Oh, I got to go to work. Boy, you know I'm tired. Boy, I got all these kids. Boy, I got to go to the gym. Boy, I got to go around here and get some vegetables. Whatever stuff that people come up with. Man calling for you. He calling for you. He say, blessed is he that is called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. When you heard that gospel, he was calling for you to tell you to come eat. And you make an excuse why you can't come. How can the Lord call you and you make an excuse that you don't want to come see him? Think about that. Think about that. Because that's what he's telling you. He said, they were all with one consent, began to make an excuse. First said unto him, I bought a piece of ground. I must needs go see it. I pray me, I be excused. Another said, I bought 5 yoke of oxen. I got to go prove them. I pray, have me excused. Another said, I married a wife, therefore I can't come. So that his servant came and showed his Lord these things. And the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets, lanes of the city. Bring hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it's done as thou commanded, and yet there is room. The Lord said unto the servants, go on the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you, none of the men which were bidden shall taste of my supper. Oh, no. So when I called, let's go on and get it, because I told it to you already. Isaiah 65. And I'm finna slide into the verse which is the crux of what we dealing with tonight, to in an understanding be man and be a man. But see, look what he tell you. I called for you, and you said you had Isaiah 66. My apologies. You said 66 and 1. You said you had more important things to do. You had more important things to do. You had higher priorities. Everlasting life ain't your number one priority. You know how sad that is to say out loud. You know, like I told y'all before, man, I ain't had no intentions on dealing with no word when I got out of prison. It was the last thing on my mind. Not a thought, not an inkling, not an inch of my brain was even daring to even think about what was contained in this text. So how that information came, how it all occurred and flowed, for me, that was confirmation that Yahuwah was real. That he was real. That he was real. Because it was nothing that I had ever considered. And I had fully immersed myself into it. Never considered it at all. And I could care less about what my friends were doing. What my family was going to do. Because I knew what I was going to do. You know what I'm saying? And I was willing to take whatever came with it. Didn't care. Didn't cross my mind about nothing other than I got to save my life. That's it. That's all I was concerned with. I wasn't concerned about how much money. I need to get a job. I just got out of prison. Oh, I need to get a lady. All this. Man, I see here people getting the word. Y'all concerned with all of that? Oh, I got to save my life, yo. I got to save my life. Like, this ain't no cap. This came out of, no, like, yeah, I got to save my life, yo. I like all this other stuff. Yeah, I got to handle that, man. This dead serious. This is real. Like, this ain't no game. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't look at it that way. That man called, I was gone. He called, I was gone. I ain't have much to turn away and walk away, but I could have sat back and looked at him trying to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Boy, I just came home from doing 4.5 years. I was gone. Y'all's my witness for whom I stand. Boy, I used to just be laying in the house and something would just come in my head like, just go walk. And I didn't even ask no question, man. I just get up and go. Just get up and go. I ain't even know I'm just gone. I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gone. Wherever this man want me to go, I'm going. I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? It don't even matter. That's how serious it is for me. It don't even matter. Isaiah 66:1. Thus saith Yahuwah, Shamahim is my throne, the earth is my footstool. Where's the house that you build unto me? Where's the place of my rest? All those things have my hand made, and all those things have been, saith Yahuwah. But to this man will I look, even to him that is of poor and of a contrite ruach, and tremble at my word. He that killed an ox as if he slew a man. He that sacrificed a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offered an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burned incense as if he baruched an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delight in their abominations. I will also choose their delusions, and I will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. And when I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. That's what we sit back and look at. This man word be coming, this man be calling you. That man word probably be testifying in some of y'all hearts when y'all doing stuff or thinking about doing something you ain't got no business. You don't listen. I done had people tell me that. They be like, they never listened. I'm like, man, that's rough. You feel me? Like, I'm rolling, man. One thing I know is that the voice of Yah never leads you to no sin. That's the one thing I do know. He don't lead you to no sin. You got all type of spirits out here that whisper many things in your heart. But one thing I know, Spirit of Yah ain't gonna lead you to no sin. Spirit of Yah gonna lead you to a stronger confirmation of faith every time. And if that spirit ain't leading you to have a stronger connection with him, then you know that ain't him. You know that ain't him in the least bit. Because you're gonna be tested and tried, that's guaranteed. You know what I mean? That's guaranteed. That's gonna go down. Come on over here and get that John 5 though. Let's focus in. Let's get it now. Let's come to what we came here for. Because it's tied into something we were talking about being bold. I want you to get John 5:44. Word was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Because I know literally it saved a nigga life. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's what occurred. Because without it, what could have happened? I could have easily went back to doing what I was doing. Who knows? You see what I'm saying? I ain't really gave it too much thought. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, nigga probably be dead or back in the chain gang. I think about all the situations and circumstances of my youth before I went to prison, of things that could have happened that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Because 99.9% of the time, I'm willing to wager that those events, if they would have occurred differently, would have not allowed me to receive his word when it was time for it to be received. You know what I'm saying? Whether that was dealings with particular women or being around particular individuals or participating in particular activities in the directions that they possibly could have led me down. I look at all that was Yahuwah's doing, because that would have kept me from him. That's how I seen it in 09, and I still see it that way now. You know what I'm saying? That was to draw me to him. I wouldn't have been able to get to him if I would have went these directions, more than likely. Because everything that I experienced and went through was for the day that he showed himself to me and said, here's my gospel, come follow me. You understand what I'm saying? I heard him. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I'm out. And I heard the same stuff that everybody else heard. We the people of the book. But I had already been reading that and seeing that before that time. So I pray, y'all knows, I can't say. That's probably why that didn't have that level of excitement for me at that time. But I know within the first 3 weeks, I was seeing this son out that book. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a month at the shortest. It wasn't long. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't long. Because he had me here. I come in the volume of the book pretty early. And I read about Apollos from Alexandria pretty early. I understood what it was about. And I mentioned that because of what we're finna read in John 5:44. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's a one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Now, why is that? Remember, the word for bold is batak. Say the righteous is bold as a lion. Remember, batak means to trust, be secure in. He says, you got someone that's accusing you. Even Moses, the individual who you trust. He said, but if you would have trusted Moses, you would have believed what I'm saying because he wrote about me. But in reality, you don't trust Moses because you don't hear me. Shalom, Brother Dennis. So what is this telling us? It's telling us that we trust the law over Hamashiach. And that's why you won't come to him that you might have life. You trust the awakening more than you trust the Mashiach. And that's why you're not going to be saved. I don't care what none of these niggas tell you. You know what I'm saying? They can tell you whatever they want to tell you. But what do we read on Wednesday? We'll read it again. Matthew 13. Because I'm just telling you what the words say. You can believe what you want to believe. Don't make me now, never mind. I know what the words say. And I ain't finna argue with a nigga about it. 13 and 11. That one thing I ain't gonna do. We Israel, we gonna be saved. You sure live, man. Sure live. You sure live. You sure live. I'm gonna be just like Jeremiah. Amen. Amen. Sure lives. Do your thing, brother. You ain't told now lie. Grace and peace. All praises, brother. All praises. I wouldn't tell him. He answered and said unto them, this is Matthew 13 and 11. Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Shamahim, but to them it is not given. Remember, right? Remember Psalms 119? I got more understanding than my teachers. I understand more than the ancients. Because of your precepts, I understand a little bit more than you. I got a little bit more wisdom than you. Why? For whatsoever to him shall be given, he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not from him, that shall be taken away, even that he have. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which say, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. These people eyes ain't open. Their hearts ain't healed, and their ears shut. So there's no ability for them to, in understanding, to be men, to be able to edify and benefit anyone. Because they're preaching the wrong gospel. They're not preaching something that could save because they trust in Moses. See, let me show you something why I say that. Matthew chapter 9. Look at something that these men said. All you got to do is, you ain't got to go back and forth and argue with nobody. John 9 and 23. Make it 22. John 9, 22. All you got to do is listen to their conversation and you can see if they trust Hamashiach or do they trust the law. I don't trust the law. What is in the law to trust? Answer me that. Riddle me that. What is in the law to trust? Somebody gonna say, but it says the laws are understanding in the sight of the nations. And it is. He ain't told no lie. He ain't told no lie when he said it. That's not my trust, though. Even before Hamashiach came, he told you to trust in Yah. Yah never told you to trust in the law. He didn't tell you to make your boast in that, but you felt like if you made your boast in that, that would benefit you more. We'll look at how the people boasted in the temple. The people thought their validation came from the temple. Not from he who was in the temple, but the temple. That's why he made that statement in Isaiah 66, man. What temple can you build to me, my nigga? All this stuff, I made all this stuff. I don't dwell in that. Solomon had enough sense to know that. John 9 and 22. These words spake his parents because they feared the Yahudim. For the Yahudim had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was a Mashiach, he should be put out of the synagogue. Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. Then again called they the man that was blind and said unto him, give Elohim the praise. We know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that where I was blind, now I see. And then said they to him again, what did he to you? How opened he your eyes? Sure did. He answered them, I have told you already, and you did not hear. Wherefore would you hear it again? Will you also be his disciples? Then they reviled him and said, thou art his disciple. We are Moses's disciples. See, let's look at that. Think about the statement that they made. He said, you follow this man. He teach you. Moses teach us. Now, why he say it? He said, there's one that accuse you, even Moses in whom you trust. What does he mean when he said there's one that accuses you? Because some people are going to say, see, the book of the Revelation say that the devil accused the brethren day and night. See, the law also accused you too because you're contrary to it. See, we forgot about that. And we don't think about that when he makes that statement. There's one that accused you, even Moses in whom you trust. Why? Why does one accuse you? Let's look at a statement that everybody love to quote. And we'll read Ecclesiastes 7:20, and then we'll look at Paul expound upon it a tad. But this, people scream this now. And people used to get offended at me years back. I used to tell them that that's before my shot came, so why is you using that? Ecclesiastes 7:20. He said, there's not a just man upon the earth that do good and sin not. See, that's what people scream. See, ain't nobody just on the earth. Ain't nobody doing good and not sinning. I say, really? I said, that's an interesting concept. Let's look at a statement here in Romans chapter 3. I said, that's an interesting concept. I said, before Yahushua came, I could roll with you on that. But now that the advent of eternal salvation has been manifest unto all men, I can't roll with you on that. So okay, Romans 3:9. And I'm not going to ride with that just to get along. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to wallow in spiritual mediocrity to appease you because you don't want to be just, because you don't want to be good. I'm not going to settle for that because that's what you settling for through your own actions. It makes my skin crawl when I hear men who preach the word say you can't be Tamayim. You can't be complete. You can't have integrity. You can't be blameless, being perfect, because that's what it means. What you mean? So he's in me and I'm him. He's blameless and I'm in him and I'm not blameless. How does that make sense? Now I just made this man to be a sinner. That's what you just said. And we can read that in Galatians 2 and we're going to get in a minute. I didn't make this man be a sinner. No, sir. What then? Are we better than they? No, and no wise. This is Romans 3:9. For we have before proved, both Yahudim and Gentiles, that they are all under sin. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. There is none that understand. There is none that seek after Elohim. They are all gone out of the way. They're together become unprofitable. There is not none that do good, no, not one. This comes from Psalms 14, what he mentioned. Their throat is an open sepulchre. With their tongues they have used deceit, the poison of asps under their lips, whose mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Destruction and misery are in their ways. The way of shalom they not known. Yahushua say, he your shalom. He say, he the way, the truth, and the life. So when you don't know Yahushua, this is what ends up happening. Let me tell y'all something. Pause. In Acts 13 chapter, when Paul was in the synagogue preaching to them people, let's just grab it real quick. Acts 13. Because I felt like I wasn't going to say what's there. And I'd rather just grab it. I want y'all to see something, right? Acts 13 and 33. Because let me tell y'all something, right? It's something that Moses' law couldn't do. And that's raise you from the dead. Can't do it. Can't do it. Cannot do it. Was never meant to do it. Elohim have fulfilled the same unto us their children, and that he have raised up Yahushua again, as is written in the second Psalm, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. As concerning that he raised him up from the dead, now no more return to corruption, he said, on this wise I will give you the sure mercies of David. Wherefore he saith also in another psalm, thou shalt not suffer thy Kadesh one to see corruption. For David, after he had served his own generation by the will of Elohim, fell on asleep, and was laid unto his fathers and saw corruption. But he whom Elohim raised again saw no corruption. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you forgiveness of sins, and by him all that believe are justified from all things which you could not be justified by the Torah of Moses. So the justification of which we seek, you couldn't be justified with it by the law of Moses. It couldn't get you the justification of everlasting life which come through faith. It couldn't get you that. It couldn't get your sins remitted. It couldn't get your sins forgiven. That does not mean that you don't follow the man's law. That means you don't put a lesser covenant above a greater one. That's it. The covenant of the blood of Yahushua is greater than the covenant of bulls and goats that was shown in Exodus chapter 24. It simply is. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. There's power with Yah in the covenant by the blood of his son. Everlasting power. Receiving of eternal life. The indwelling of the Ruach HaKodesh from on high. And the transformation to the sons and daughters of the living Elohim. See, but we don't count that as a great reward, clearly. Verse 40, beware therefore lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, you despisers and wonder and perish. For I work a work in your days, which you shall in no wise believe, even though a man told it to you. See, hold on, I back up, and I missed what I actually wanted. Come on ahead to verse 26 in Acts 13. That's what I really wanted. He say, men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, whosoever among you fear Elohim, to you is this word of salvation sent. For they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not, nor yet the voices of the prophets, which are read every Shabbat, they have fulfilled them in condemning him. And they found no cause of death in him, yet desired they Pilate that he should be slain. And when they had fulfilled all that was written of him, they took him down from the tree and laid him in a sepulchre. But Elohim raised him from the dead. Oh, boy. They sat in that synagogue every week and heard that book and still didn't know him. You know how sad that is? See, because that's what he told you. He said, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Because Moses was accusing them when they were sitting out bringing out there and they was condemning this man. That's what he just mentioned. You brought false witnesses, right? Brought 3 of them. Spit in the man's face. Lied on him. Slandered him. Brought him for envy. Whole time you were trusting in Moses, he was accusing you because you were violating Torah. You chose a murder. Numbers 35 tell you don't choose a murderer over a righteous man. They chose Barabbas. But Moses accusing you. But that's who you trust. You trust death. See, let me show you something. Isaiah chapter 28. And we'll come back to Romans 3. And we got Galatians 2 on that. Dang, I just forgot what it is. Give me a second. I just forgot what I just said I was going. That's horrible. I guess that's that doggone years of abuse to your brain catching up with you. But just sit there and think about that for a moment. Okay, Isaiah 28. Praise y'all. That's where I was going. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 14. Wherefore hear the word of Yahuwah, you scornful men that rule this people which is in Jerusalem. Because you said we made a covenant with death, and with hell we're at agreement. And when the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we've made lies our refuge, and in the falsehood have we hid ourselves. Is that saying that the law is falsehood? Absolutely not. They lived in the falsehood that they were keepers of the law, even though they didn't keep it. Let's look at a Mashiach tell them that y'all don't do nothing with it, boy, say. John chapter 7. See, because if you're going to be in an understanding and be a man, then you would understand that you would trust in Yahushua. You would come unto him that you might have life. Because if you believe Moses, you would believe him because you know that Moses wrote by this man and that the scriptures bear witness of him. Because anytime we contrary to the law is accusing us. It's accusing us before the face of Elohim. He's a liar. He's a thief. He breaks Shabbat. He got hate in his heart for his neighbor. He's a slanderer. That's ugly, y'all. That's John 7 and 19. And again, too, when you look at it, right? As it comes to my mind, when you look at it, that's 5 and 44 say, how can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? When you always trying to boast in your flesh of being an Israelite and boast in Torah, that's for others. It's, look how righteous that brother is. You want that honor. See, when you rolling with the gospel of Yahushua and he tell you that you're going to be persecuted for his name's sake, you want the honor that comes from Elohim only. I ain't trying to move along to get along. I'm standing for what's right. I'm standing for truth and righteousness, according to the gospel of my Savior, my Redeemer, my King, and the only begotten Son of the living Elohim, whose name is Yahuwah, Yahushua HaMashiach. And that's what I'm on, and that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be. You feel me? That's different. That's a whole different. I'm trying to tell you, that gospel is a whole different type of boldness. It's a different type of boldness. It's a different type of boldness. These niggas ain't bold because these niggas ain't talking about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Niggas steady talking about that awakening. Nigga, you ain't awake to nothing. He said, awake thou that sleepest, and the Mashiach will give thee light. And in him was the light, and the light was the life of men. And the light was in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. These niggas can't even comprehend eternal life, talking about they woke. Sit your monkey behind down somewhere and get some sense. Because if you can't comprehend Yahushua and the gospel, what light do you have? How are you awake? You still in your sins. You still in your sins. John chapter 7, verse 19. He said, did not Moses give you Torah? Yet none of you keep the Torah. Why you go about to kill me? These niggas so worried about that man healing on the Shabbat. And he like, man, Moses gave you the law, and don't none of you niggas keep it. But yet you bothering me by healing somebody. And that's what we on right now. I'll never forget it. But that man kept coming at that woman, this Christian woman, you need to keep the law. You need to keep the law. You need to keep the law. She said, you perfect? He said, no. She said, so you don't keep the law. Nigga was ashamed. We died laughing in this man's face. Tried not to, ain't had no choice. Because you telling this person to do something that you not even doing. Because that's what you trust in. But you don't even trust it enough to hold to it. That's sad, man. That ain't what it do right there. That ain't what it do. We could just, like this here, right? I'll tell y'all like this here. Because I was talking to my little homie about this here, man. He was shocked when I first met him back in 2014. And I used to tell him, pick a chapter. So he said, if you would have believed Moses, you would have believed me because he wrote of me. So if y'all want to see somewhere where he wrote of him, I'll let you pick the chapter. I ain't going to pick it. First person pro son up there, that's what we're going to look at. Matter of fact, 3. First 3 people, because we're going to do 3 witnesses. You pick it. That's what we can do. You can pick it. I ain't going to pick nothing. I'm waiting on y'all. Y'all can pick it. So can. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to. I'm dead serious too. I won't go in that direction. Y'all can pick it. I ain't gonna pick nothing. But this man say y'all don't even keep it. Come on back to Romans chapter 3 while you trying to come up with something. Y'all must think I'm playing. I'm definitely serious. You can pick the chapter. We'll go through it right now as we speak. First 3 people. 3 and 17 of the epistle to the Romans. He said, in the way of shalom, they had not known. There's no fear of Elohim before their eyes. Now we know that what things soever the law say, it say to them who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped, and the whole world may become guilty before Elohim. Whole world come guilty before Elohim, because you're dead wrong. Therefore, by the deeds of Torah shall no flesh be justified in his sight, for by Torah is the knowledge of sin. But now the righteousness of Elohim without Torah is manifested, being witnessed by Torah and the prophets. So look what he said, right? The righteousness of Elohim has now been made plain, and the law and the prophets bear witness of this said righteousness. So again, he said, if you would have believed Moses, you would have believed me. Y'all can pick the chapter. It looked like y'all don't want to pick nothing. I'm going to go to Galatians chapter 2. I'm trying to give you some time. I'm dead serious what I'm talking about. You pick it. And this ain't no abnormal thing. Do this all the time. Shoot, I used to let Lil Muffin pick what I was going to preach. And say, you can choose it. Whatever you want to learn about, that's what we're going to do. Ain't got no problem with that. Galatians chapter 2. Verse 16. He said, knowing that a man is not justified by works of Torah, but by the faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, even we have believed in by the faith of a Mashiach, and not by the works of Torah, for the works of Torah shall no flesh be justified. But if while we seek to be justified by Mashiach, we ourselves also are found sinners, is therefore Hamashiach the minister of sin? Elohim forbid. So if we seeking to be justified by our faith, and we found in sin, did Hamashiach teach you to do that? Did he serve sin to you? No, he did not. No, he did not. This does not mean that the law is void. This does not mean that it is not righteous. This does not mean that it's not just and good altogether. It means that it will not justify you in Elohim's sight. It's a very simple concept. Without the faith of Elohim, you can't be justified. I guess don't nobody want to pick nothing. Shayla, would you like to make a selection? Don't nobody want to make a selection. That's unfortunate. I shall make one for you. And I'm just going to go to wherever it stops. And it stopped on Deuteronomy chapter 10. So that's what we're going to look at. Deuteronomy chapter 10 is our first witness. I guess y'all thought I was playing, but I'm dead serious. You still got a chance to pick two. Deuteronomy 10 and 1. Before we read Deuteronomy 10 and 1, get to Deuteronomy 29. And from Deuteronomy 29, Romans chapter 16. And then I'll swing it back. I thought y'all be ready to jump on something like that. Clearly not. Clearly not. Deuteronomy 29, verse 27. Now let's make it 29 and 29. The secret things belong unto Yahuwah Elohim. For those things which are revealed belong unto us, unto our children forever, that we may do all the words of this Torah. So the secret things belong to Yahuwah. But that which he gave you, which is the law, is yours. Hamashiach wouldn't reveal. Whole Romans 16. Now come back to Deuteronomy 10. And let's look and see. And when we go to Deuteronomy 10, I think we're going to take a Deuteronomy 20, indeed. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going to take a roll to I want to say John chapter 2. I got one spot remaining. We got Deuteronomy 10. We got Deuteronomy 20. We got one more remaining. Same person who picked it said he can't pick the next one. Somebody else got to pick the last one. At that time, Yahuwah said unto me, hew 2 tables of stone like to the first. Come up unto me into the mount and make thee an ark of wood. I'll write on the tables the words which were in the first tables which thou break, and thou shalt put them in the ark. Hold on. So let's look at it. He said, make me 2 tables of stone like you did the first time. He said, I'll write on them tables. But let's see something. I do it like this. In 1 Samuel chapter 10, when Saul got the spirit put on him. Let's just look at it, because I don't even want to do it like that. Let's just look at it. I'll take my time with it. I want you to show you that you ain't got no business trusting Moses. You ought to trust Hamashiach. That doesn't lower Moses. I heard someone say, but that means we worship Yahushua. Get your stupid butt out of here. You sound stupid. Just sound stupid. Because all you doing is regurgitating what you heard another person say. I would tell my little homie too, man. I mentioned the one I told him, but I mentioned another one because I remember both of them vividly and plainly to this day. The first one occurred in 2013. I mean, a lot of them occurred, but these two standing in my mind. Always have. Shabbat had just ended. I forgot what they were doing. She stayed in the house. We were staying off Hartsfield Road. I'm finna slide down to the Bailey's on Merrill and get my lift on as I usually do. I take that back. It was in the daytime. It wasn't after Shabbat. It was in the daytime. It was in the daytime. So as I'm walking, I'm thinking on 1 Kings chapter 2. I said, this is 2013. This is right before Pentecost 2013. And it hit me that 1 Kings chapter 2 was Acts chapter 1. Because I remember he was telling Elijah asked Elisha, he said, what you want me to do for you before I appeal? He said, let me get a double portion of your spirit. He said, boy, you done asked a hard thing. He said, but never 1 Kings 17, that's outside the law, Karen. That's outside the law. We got to stick with Moses. But I like your gumption. I'll work it in just to work it in. But I need something out of the law. But I'm going to work that for you because you asked. Because you put it up. So when he said, if you see me when I'm taken from you, I'm going to do that. And that's when he allowed me to put it together. And it got put together along with the testimony of Isaiah 14 being Lucifer, along with Psalm 68, where he talking about, you know what I'm saying, he took captivity captive and he gave gifts unto men. And Psalm 14 said, I'll go above the clouds and I'll be like Elohim. All that stuff came to me on the way to the gym. I was like, yeah, this man real. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we had been preaching at that time, like really doing it, like 5-6 months. You know what I'm saying? 5-6 months. So, but I had been dealing with the word for about 4 years. But I'm talking about, I remember that. I remember sitting in my mama's car, scrolling on my phone, seeing a nigga who just got caught cheating on his wife, putting his bare penis in women inboxes, and decided to quote Proverbs 24:16, a just man falls 7 times as a justification for his behavior. And I was enraged. And I remember when this happened. This happened November 2014. I was enraged. And it came right in the spot of the ability to show his death, burial, and resurrection in that verse and what it actually meant. Because fall in that verse means to be caught up in a violent death. Of course, y'all know those 7 things that he fell in are the 7 abominations in Proverbs 6. The 7 abominations that were in a man's heart who come to flatter in Proverbs 26. And he rose again from the discord among brethren, from the shedding of innocent blood, from the proud look, from the false witnesses, all the suffering and pain that those who must enter into the kingdom of Elohim very well may suffer. Because I trust in him. I don't trust in the law. You're not going to get that from trusting in the law. I don't care who you are. Because the same level of information that this man can open my eyes to see, he will open the eyes of anyone who believes and trusts in his son anywhere in the earth, irregardless of their nationality. Of that I am certain. Of that I am certain. Unequivocally. You know what I'm saying? 1 Samuel chapter 10. I remember this here. I remember when we went through this here. We went through this here in 2012. Of what we finna do. And that came from something that I was sending them in text messages at the time. First Samuel chapter 10 and about verse 4. Because matter of fact, Lil Muffin picked this when we did it publicly. I remember that. Because we was fellowshipping with somebody else. And he was like, yeah, I want you to drop. And I ain't know which one I was going to drop. So Lil Muffin say, dude, I say, which one you want to hear? I think I gave her 3 options. And she chose the one that said, call the Holy Spirit. That's what she chose. 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 4. And they will salute thee and give thee 2 loaves of bread, which thou shalt receive of their hands. And after that thou shalt come to the hill of Elohim, where is the garrison of the Philistines. And it shall come to pass that when thou art come to the city, thou shalt meet a company of prophets coming down from a high place with a psaltery and a tabret and a pipe and a harp, and before them, and they shall prophesy. And the Ruach of Yahuwah will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and thou shalt be turned into another man. Oh, when that Ruach come upon you, you're going to be turned into another man. Those strong words. And right in this chapter, he said, you know what? Verse 9, it was so that when he had turned his back to go from Samuel, Elohim gave him another heart. So when you look at that, what is that telling us? Because he says, you 2 tables of stones like the first one. Write on them. Put them in this ark of wood. Make another covenant, because these niggas done broke it. These niggas done broke it. But I'm looking at this here because when we see this, we see being born again, or how the Ruach will transform you and change you. The law can't do. See, a lot of people are like, the law converts the soul. Well, the word convert there means to shub. It means to turn back. It means to repent. It's not going to make you born again. It's not going to make you born again. But what that law bear witness to can make you born again. That it can do. See, people don't want to hear that. That's Christian talk. That's what your Lord said, dummy. So it can't be Christian talk. That's y'all talk, stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. And I have to be harsh like that because that's how stupid people sound. Because you so worried about being labeled a Christian because you worried about honor in words of men. Why do you care? This is what I want y'all to understand, right? I thank y'all for my mama, for my granddaddy, for my auntie, you know what I'm saying? For my nigga Damon. And it's unfortunate that the people who I just mentioned, with the exception of my mama, are dead. Do you know what I'm saying? And a few other people, but those were the main ones. But they always told me, man, bump what a nigga talking about and how a nigga feel. It's about how you feel about yourself. Stop worrying about the people around you. How do you view yourself? How do you feel about yourself? The people around you ain't got nothing to do with you. You got to love and respect yourself. You got to believe in yourself. Now, of course, they didn't necessarily always use those exact words, but that was the gist of their conversation. I understood it clearly. My granddad used to always say, man, if a nigga ain't tried it, man, screw him. Screw him. Go about your day. My nigga Damon say, boy, if you know that nigga ignorant, what you arguing with him for? If you know what you talk about and you secure who you are, what you talking about, what you arguing with these niggas for? Go about your business. You supposed to be confident and secure in what you're doing and who you are. Stop worrying about these niggas. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? That's where that come from. This is what Yahuwah and Yahushua was trying to impart unto us. Stop worrying about praise of men and get the praise of God. It trumpet. It trumpet. Come on over here. Well, I want to grab this 2 takes. Lost my train of thought. What did it do? I was going to mention to you Isaiah 49. Probably about verse 14 for those of you who are not aware. He said, you know, you're written on the palms of my hands. I'll never forget you. Remember, Yahushua is that covenant. And he wrote on him. And he put him on an ark of water. He put him on that tree. And he put him on that tree to make us a new covenant. Come over here to Luke 1:67, if I'm not mistaken. See, when you understand the depths of the love of Elohim and the things that he went about to work in order that we might be saved, it gives you the spiritual and mental fortitude to continue through all obstacles that you face. When you are bereft of that, it can make it very difficult to endure adversity. I try to encourage people as often as possible. And I felt like that my entire life because that's what was given to me as a child and as a young man. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like it was only right to do the same. Niggas around our way, I told you, they was like each one teach one. Nigga, you learn something, you supposed to share that with your man. You learn something, you supposed to share that with your man. We supposed to be able to bounce stuff off of each other for the elevation of self. That's what niggas around our way told a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Did everybody take heed to that? I can't say. I know I did. I know I did. Because when them niggas was talking, I was listening. Because I respected the wisdom that they had. They were older than me. So that means they had more experience and seen things that I hadn't seen. So I would have been a fool not to peep when they were telling us how to move. Do you know what I'm saying? And it was really just how to move as men from the perspective that they had at the time. Because most of us ain't had no daddy. So it wasn't no, most of us ain't had no daddy to tell us how to move and how to operate. And then we had to learn how to move and operate amongst vultures, thieves, and whores, and junkies, and connivers, and killers, and all types of shiesty individuals. Do you know what I'm saying? It changed your outlook on life, man. I heard, it's a big old business conference going down in Miami right now with Grant Cardone, you know what I mean? And that white dude be dropping some work. I can't front on him on that. I ain't take that from him. You know what I'm saying? But dude was like, my man's down there. And he like, he asked one of his employees like, yo, what's your biggest takeaway? He was like, I was always scared if I got rich that money would change me. But one of them said, money doesn't change you. It just magnifies who you already are. And it was funny to me because we learned that in the street. Like I learned that when I was 19, 20 years old. You know what I'm saying? These people paid thousands of dollars for game that we got for free. Because I'm willing to wager that a lot of the game that they dropping is good game. But I'll probably say 75% of it, we probably got it for free. It's a lot of game get dropped in the streets for free. For free. And you got to pay nothing for it. You know what I'm saying? It just was funny to me because I say, and that's not to knock him because shoot, he didn't know, he was nervous about it. But I'm like, dang, nigga learned that in 1999. I can remember talking to my uncle and he trying to give me game. I'm like, Unc, man, I'm 23 years old, bro. The stuff you trying to tell me, I've already experienced and lived it. It'd be different if I didn't have the experience. You telling me how to do something that I've already overcame. So I don't have any desire to hear what you're talking about because you missed that. And it's not, and I understand that you want to help and that's cool. But you missed that. You missed that opportunity to do that. We've already experienced and learned that. And I'm trying to tell you that, but you don't want to hear that because there's a disconnect. Because you're not here. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know. But when you got, it's not to say that I wouldn't listen to what he was talking about, but I was trying to tell him, like, I learned that already. From experience. Not, you can't tell me nothing, I already know that. I'm like, I learned that from experience. Let me explain to you the situation and circumstance where I learned what you're trying to teach me right now. He couldn't fathom that. Because all he could see me as is this little boy. He couldn't understand. I'm 23 years old now. I've experienced a lot of things now. And not all of them positive. Some of my friends have experienced a lot of things and I was right there with them. And all of it wasn't positive. Some of it was. So when we look at that and we taking in what this word is bringing, he's trying to give us something positive from the experience of somebody who what he went through was negative. Because what he experienced was a negative situation to bring out a positive. And we need to look at that positive that was brought forth and what have appeared to be a negative so we can encapsulate all of those things in our character, receive the Ruach HaKodesh, and be blessed with everlasting life and a seat at the table that we might eat at the marriage supper of the Lamb, if you feel me. Luke 1:67. And his father Zacharias was filled with the Ruach HaKodesh and prophesied, saying, Baruch be Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, for he had visited and redeemed his people. He had raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his Kodesh prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all the haters, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his Kodesh covenant, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham, that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear, and Kodesh and righteousness before him all the days of our life. And thou, child, shalt be called the prophet of the highest. For thou shalt go before the face of the Lord to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of sins through the tender mercy of our Elohim, whereby the day spring from on high have visited us. Remember that day spring, that means light. To give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet in the way of shalom. That's what the gospel coming to do. So he said he came, make me 2 new tables of stone. Come over here to John chapter 2. I got to crank it up a notch, but it's all good. I feel good. I hope y'all do too. Y'all's good, and his mercy endures forever. I hope you know that. John 2:1. I just pray that everybody's level of faith be made strong. It's like it's here too, and I'm going to mention it some tomorrow, and I be telling y'all this all the time because it's just the truth. When we look at it, what an olive man is, that's really a righteous man. So when you look at it, an olive man is rare. Everybody around here screaming they alpha males and they this and they that. How's that possible if that's a rare breed? I'm a virtuous woman. I'm a Proverbs 31 one. How when that's a rare breed? That's a rare breed. It ain't, they just ain't everywhere. He said they more precious than rubies. Who can find one? Solomon said, boy, he went through 1,000 men. Talking about to find one righteous woman. How about finding a right? Come on, man. You had a whole people in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. And Abraham couldn't even find 10. Couldn't even find 10. Let's start acting like righteous men and women grow on trees. And they just in great abundance. That don't mean you can't be one. That don't mean you can't grow into one. But there's a lot of people speaking presumptuously. Book tell you that every man proclaim his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? Say, let another man praise you and not your own lips. You got a lot of dudes, I'm a righteous man. Who else besides you bearing witness of yourself? Anybody else got that testimony? I don't think nobody else got that testimony of you, son. I think you're just talking. You trying to convince me, you trying to convince yourself. Which one is it? John chapter 2, verse 1. And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Yahushua was there, and Yahushua was called and his disciple to the marriage. Y'all know the story. He turned the water into wine. I got to crank up a little bit. But I want y'all to look at what he said, right? Verse 7. Matter of fact, I'll use this as an example. When you see in verse 6 that there's 6 water pots of stone after the manner of the purifying of the Yahudim, containing 2 or 3 foreskins apiece, and he said unto them, fill the water pots with water, and they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, draw out now and bear unto the governor of the feast, and they bear. All you got to do is take a look in the book of Exodus when he turned that water into blood. And ask yourself if there were stone pots used. Go read it for yourself. Because if you believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. You know what I'm saying? You see, even it's one that accused you, even Moses, to whom you trust. Because that's what you trust. Let me tell y'all something too, man. When you deal with the gospel of Yahushua, that's what allows you to take you to develop into becoming a man or a woman. And that's what allows you to develop to become a man or woman who is ready to be married. Because you're gonna show forth the attributes of Elohim. Like for those of y'all that stated, hey, I'm a spiritual adolescent or a spiritual toddler, you shouldn't have got married. That means you were not at a mental, spiritual, and emotional capacity to be able to support an adult decision. You may or may have not known that at the time. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have the capability because a child can't support an adult. That's impossible. How's a child going to hold up an adult? That's not how that works. The parents supposed to lay up for the children, not the children for the parents. That's backwards. Verse 9. And when the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom. He said unto him, every man at the beginning do set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse, but thou hast kept the good wine until now. He said, you kept the good stuff to the last. So you started me out with something that was good. It was great. We definitely well drunk, but you done kept what was best till the last. 2 Corinthians chapter 3. He say, take, drink. This is my blood, which is the New Testament, shed for many for the remission of sins. We're looking at the righteousness that was manifested without Torah in Torah. Because when he told you to take those 2 tables of stones and make you a new one, that man told you go make you another covenant. Well, you know what testament is of no effect as long as the testator live. It necessitates, it's desirable. It behooved him to suffer. He got to die. Oh, that's a strong conversation. How else you gonna get a new heart unless you die? Huh? How else you gonna get a new heart unless you die? You fighting to stay alive. You trying to buck the tree. You don't want to get on the tree. Why you don't want to get on the tree? Just don't get on the tree. It's better for you. 3 and 1, 2 Corinthians. Do we begin again to commend ourselves, or need we some other epistles of commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you? You are an epistle written in our hearts, known and read of all men. For as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistle of a Mashiach, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the ruach of the living Elohim, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. That's it. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. If you done already got married, then you need to grow up. If you know that you're not in a mature state, you need to focus on the elevation of yourself to become an adult, to fully support the person who is your partner in life. See, now that's something that I was told when I was young. That's your wife, true. But she's not your maid. She's not your personal chef. She's your partner in life. This is the person who's going to walk with you to navigate life. And y'all got to be there to hold each other down and ride with each other in that process. You know what I'm saying? And be there to hold each other accountable, and be there to push each other and encourage each other, and be there to comfort one another. You know what I'm saying? And whatever the case may be, so that you can be the best version of yourself, because this is your partner in life. It's no different than, say, a business. I've been telling you that's a business relationship. This is your partner in life. This is who you navigating through life with. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to sit back and be like, there ain't nobody else that I would rather go through this thing called life with than you. You know what I'm saying? And we have to sit back and let's look here, right? Most people young, you have deficiencies. You can't never focus on the deficiencies of the other person. Because if you focus on the deficiencies of the other person, then you can never be able to behold their strengths and their abilities, because you're focusing on what they can't do instead of fostering what they can do. And as a leader, leaders don't do that. Like when you look at, I done told you about that in sports. Bad coaches try to make their players fit a system that don't fit their skill set. So these players don't have success. Great coaches look, what makes Bill Belichick be able to be in 9 Super Bowls in 18 years is because he looks at his personnel, and week by week, he finds out what it is that they're going to do well against a particular opponent and puts them in them positions for them to succeed. Not that you're going to do it how I want you to do it, or you can't do this when I need you to do this. Doesn't matter. This is what you do well. I'm going to put you in a position to succeed in what you do well. Through that success of what you do well, I can teach you how to be better and where you're weak at to where you have no weaknesses. And that's what a good teacher and leader is going to do. I'm not going to focus on what you don't do well. I already know what you don't do well. Yahusha already knew you was a sinner. It wasn't no need for him to focus on it. We already know that. But what I can focus on is the elevation and strengthening of your faith. And then I can correct you on where you're wrong at later. But if I come and look at this old pork eating, Shabbat breaking, homosexual, fornicating, adulterer, ain't nobody finna listen to you. Ain't nobody finna listen to you. Because you told me what it is that I can't do. Tell me what I can do through you, and believe that I can accomplish that, and then push me to do so, and don't take no crap from me or the resistance that I'm going to try to give you because you're pushing me to be a better person. This is one of the reasons why people always say people don't really want good men or good women, because a good man or a good woman is going to push you to be a better person. And if you don't have a desire to be a better person, that's going to offend you. He trying to control me. She belittling me. And use a chump. Use a sucker and a buster of the highest order. You know what I'm saying? Male or female. Don't you know when somebody's pushing you to be better than what you are, that means this person sees something in you you probably don't even see in yourself, and they love you and care about you and want you to be your best. But you're so used to people not expecting nothing out of you that you're shocked when somebody expects something from you. You can't even believe it. My mother didn't accept mediocrity from me. They didn't accept it. They didn't believe in that. They didn't believe in, well, you did your best. Clearly you didn't, or you would have performed better. You need to focus. You need to focus. Clearly you did not do your best because you are better than that. I will not allow you to believe that you're at this level. I won't let you believe that. Whether you're at that level or not, I'm not going to allow you to believe that. I'm going to make you believe that you can do more than that if you just apply yourself in focus mode. This is how I was raised, seriously, from elementary school. They wasn't with it. They wasn't with it. They wasn't accepting of that. Oh, you got to see. Oh, good job, good job. No, that's not a good job. It's not. You could have done better. Clearly you was playing around. But you know what? Niggas so emotionally weak because you want to cater to children 24/7 that you don't want to tell them that mediocrity is unacceptable. And that you could have done better if you focused more and you applied yourself better. But you don't want to hurt their feelings. You want them to feel good. What's good about being average? What's good about that? What is there to be proud about? Why are you satisfied with that? And you wonder why other nations of people get ahead of you. Because you're satisfied with mediocrity. Got to break that chain. Got to break that cycle, man. Period. In the end of the day, that's what got to be done. You want your children to be average? Or do you want them to have the ability to know that whatever I set my mind to, I can accomplish this no matter what level of adversity or obstacle come my way? And you know why I know I can accomplish it? Because my mom and my daddy told me I could. They always told me I could. I believed them too. I know I can do it. How you know you can do it? Because my mama told me I could. My daddy told me I could. You should want your children to talk like that when some idiotic child trying to discourage them from doing what they want to do. Nigga, you can't do that. I bet you lying. My mama told me I can do whatever. My daddy told me ain't nothing I can't do. And they say it with confidence because they believe it because you raised them that way. To believe in themselves. That's the difference. Truth be told, that's the difference from somebody having success and somebody being a failure. Is the ability to instill confidence in them from a young age. And your God tried to instill confidence from you from the time that he met you, and you refused it. Verse 4, and such trust have we through Hamashiach to Elohim ward. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of Elohim, who also made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Ruach. For the letter killed, but the Ruach give life. So let me tell you something. That first covenant was made out of stone. It's same stone. They take to bust you upside your head when you sin. But the second covenant was made out of flesh of a man whose flesh he said he would give for the life of the world. Major difference. But you know what? You trust Moses. You trust the law. This man told you right here, right? Come over here to verse 14, right? Verse 13, actually. Because the new covenant is greater than the old, irregardless what anybody talking about. He's saying, not as seeing, verse 12, seeing as we have such hope, we have great plainness of speech. Not as Moses, which put a veil over his face, that the children of Yasharal could not steadfastly look to the end of which is abolished, which that's not in Deuteronomy 10. That's in Exodus 34. Deuteronomy 10 and Exodus 34 is the same account of the same event. Deuteronomy 10 just don't have Moses' face covered. You see in Matthew 17, Yahushua's face is uncovered. New Testament is here. Eternal life is here. That's why he was transfigured, showing them this is what it's about right here, baby. This is what we're working towards. So you could take on my esteemed body and live forever with me on the mountaintop. He said, but their minds were blinded, for unto this day remain the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament, which veil is done away in Hamashiach. But even unto this day, when Moses is read, the veil is upon their hearts. Nevertheless, when it shall turn to the Lord, the veil shall be taken away. Now the Lord is that Ruach. And where the Ruach of the Lord is, there's freedom. Huh? Come on back to Deuteronomy 10. Where this man's spirit at, there's freedom. Guess what that New Testament gave you? Freedom from death, freedom from sin, because free from sin make you free from death. How you got free from sin? Because Hamashiach became sin for us, that we might have reconciliation under Elohim. That's why he said, go ahead and make another covenant. Go ahead and make another one. Come on over here to verse 4. Go on, make another one. I got to make another one. They done broke it. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writing, the 10 commandments which Yahuwah spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly, and Yahuwah gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mountain, put the tables in the ark which he made, and there be, and as Yahuwah commanded, and the children, they went off on a little journey. Told him how he separated the tribe of Levi to bear the ark and to stand before him to minister and to bless in his name unto this day. And guess what Yahushua did? Went and found him some Levites, which you would say were the apostles or the disciples, and separated them and they didn't have no inheritance with their brethren because Yahuwah was their inheritance. That's why their name is on the 12 gates going around New Jerusalem. They ain't have no part and lot with y'all. We read that in Matthew 19. He said, I stayed in the mount 40 days, 40 nights. Yahuwah hearkened unto me also, because I asked him not to kill you. Then when you go around and continuing in that chapter, that's when he go to tell you that, behold, Shamahim is Yahuwah's. The earth is his. He only delighted in your fathers. Told you to circumcise your heart. We know that where that come in at. Not with the circumcision made with hands, but the circumcision that comes from Elohim to cause you to put off the body of sin. And you know that he put off the body of sin when he got off the stake and got in the grave and got up 3 days later. That was the circumcision. Put it off. Rolling away the stone. Same way Yahushua son of Nun rolled away the stone after he circumcised the children of Yasharal the second time. That's Joshua chapter 5. Whole books about him. Whole books bearing witness to your salvation and the removing of sin and the quickening the life everlasting. Let's look at Deuteronomy 20, which was prophet. Let's look at Deuteronomy 20 and 1. And y'all know the majority of this stuff we done looked at, we done dealt with it before. I thank y'all for the word though. But we want you to see how the law, the righteousness of the law was manifested without the law, being bear witness of the law. Because if you would have believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But it's one that's going to accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Because the secret things belong to Yahuwah, but these things been revealed under. Only thing he gave, dude be like this, I got a revelation. Nigga, if it ain't the gospel of Yahushua, you ain't got no revelation, nigga. You just talking. You just talking. That's the only revelation you should be getting. I got a revelation. Chicken's not unclean. Y'all ain't revealed that to you, nigga. All the things he could reveal to you, he revealed you that. You expect me to believe that? If I was dumb? Deuteronomy 20. This is what he say, when thou go out to battle against thy enemies and see horses and chariots and people more than thou, don't be afraid. Yahuwah is with thee. We brought thee up out of the land of Mizraim. And guess what? When it was time for Yahushua to die, Matthew 26, and it was time for him to go out to the battle, and he saw all his enemies and all them people, you didn't see him afraid. He said, behold, it's time for the Son of Man to be betrayed in the hand of sinners. And when Peter upped that fire and cut his head, he said, ho, Peter, how else the scripture going to be fulfilled? Don't worry about it, baby. We got it, baby. Be easy. And it shall be when you come nigh on the battle, and the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Yasharal, you approach this day. Your hearts be faint, fear not, do not tremble, neither be terrified because of them. Yahuwah your Elohim is he that go with you to fight. Yahushua told the man, my Abba, see, I lay my life down to myself. No man take it from me. I'm going out to the battle, man. I ain't scared. My Elohim fighting for me. I ain't scared. Even in his law, he trying to teach you faith with with these precepts. But we didn't have it. Look at verse 4. Verse 5. The officers are speaking to the people, what man is there that has built a new house and have not dedicated it? Let him go return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. What man is he that have planted a vineyard and have not eaten of it? Let him go also and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat it. What man is there that have betrothed a wife and have taken her? Let him go home and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is he that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return into his house, lest his brethren's heart faint, as well as his heart. So let me tell y'all something, right? You look at it and say, where's the man who built a new house and he ain't dedicated it yet? Let him go on to the house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicated. That's another one of the reasons why he told the apostles, all y'all going to be scattered from me and flee tonight. Because I'm trying to get you a new house. And if you come out here to the back, you ain't even had a chance to dedicate it yet. Do you not recall he said, drink, this is my blood in the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. I'm trying to get you right for a new house. But if you come out here to the battle, you ain't even going to get a chance to live in it because they going to kill you. They going to kill you. You got to slide. You got to slide. You can't come out here for this. I got to go through this alone. Because something going to happen. You can't come out to the battle today, baby. Can't come out here today. This ain't your fight. See, the whole book bear witness of the man, and you thinking the apostles just fled and this stuff in the law, man. This stuff is right here. Look at verse 9. He said, it shall be when the officers made it end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies that lead the people. When you come nigh to a city to fight against it, then proclaim shalom unto it. It shall be, if it maketh thee an answer shalom to open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. The very thing what Yahushua told his apostles, when you come into a city, seek who is worthy, and put your shalom on it. And if your shalom ain't with it, take it with you. If there's your shalom, if they be worthy, let your shalom be there. And the laborer is worthy of this hire, because they will serve you. Verse 12, and if it will make no shalom with thee, thou shalt make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. And when that you who the Elohim have delivered it into thy hands, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones and the cattle and all this in the city to spoil, you can take for yourself. Thou shalt do unto all the cities which are very far from off thee, which are not of the cities of these nations. Thou shalt do unto all these cities of the people which who will give thee for an inheritance. Thou shalt save alive nothing that breathe. You shall utterly kill all the Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, Jebusites, kill them all. That they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they done unto their gods, as you should sin against you who are your Elohim. And you know what that is? Now why the sinner's getting rooted out of the earth when he come through. Because y'all not going to be around here teaching people to do that. And again, that goes back to what I was telling y'all about soul ties mean absolutely nothing. That's quasi-spiritual nigga talk. But the thoughts and perspectives of other people are way more dangerous. Because they can influence your thought patterns and therefore influence your decisions and therefore influence your actions. That's why he say evil communications corrupt good manners. Some of you have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame. Let's look at that 1 Kings 17 here. We done did 1 Kings 17 too, Karen. It's been a minute. I want to say 2015, maybe 2014, but my mind says 2015. Yeah, 2015. 1 Kings 17, y'all. Now, this is the story when Elijah had prayed that it wouldn't rain for 3.5 years. And, you know, he got fed by some ravens. They brought him bread and flesh in the morning, bread and flesh in the evening. He drank a little water out the brook. When we look at verse 8, it's mainly the story of the widow's son that you want to focus on. He goes to dwell with the Zidonian woman. Matter of fact, Yahushua told him there was many widow women. Matter of fact, let me grab that for you, Luke chapter 4. You know, the word is expansive. It's intricate. It's delightful. It's pleasing to the soul. And it's so many things that can be gleaned from a book that is really not that long in reality. You know what I mean? But it's a lot you can get from it. 4:24 of Luke. And he said, truly I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country. But I tell you of a truth, many widows were in Yasharal in the days of Elijah, when Shamahin was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when great famine was throughout all the land. But none of them was Elijah sent, save Sarepta of city of Zidon, unto a woman that was a widow. And many lepers were in Yasharal in the time of Elisha the prophet, and none of them were cleansed, save Naaman the Syrian. And all they in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled with wrath, and rose up to thrust him out of the city, and led him to the brow of the hill where the city was built, that they may cast him down headlong. But he, passing through the midst of them, went his way, and came down to Capernaum, a city of Galilee, and taught them on Shabbat. And they were astonished at his doctrine, for his word was with power. You know, that's a sad deal. They want to kill the man because he ain't do nothing but tell them what the book said. And they want to kill him for it. You know what I mean? And these niggas around here talking about these people gonna persecute us. Shoot, nigga. I ain't worried about no cracker. I ain't worried about no cracker. I'm worried about you niggas. You Hebrew niggas the ones I got to be watching. You the ones gonna get me killed. Nevertheless, that man said, boy, it was plenty of widow women. He ain't sent him to Nan one. It was plenty of lepers. He only went to Naaman. All right. When you look at 1 Kings chapter 17, and you look at him going to this woman, he told her, hey, pray, make me a little water in a vessel that I might drink, and I'm going to go fetch it. She said, I ain't got but a cake and a handful of barley and oil in a cruse. I'm going to gather 2 sticks that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, and we may eat it and die. Elijah said to her, don't have no fear now. Just go ahead and make me that little cake first and bring it to me, and then after that, you'll have for you and your son. Verse, for thus saith Yahuwah Yashra, the barrel of meat shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail until the day that Yahuwah send rain on the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she in her house did eat many days. That's lining up with the same token when he fed them people with that little bit of fish and bread. Then she went according to the saying of Elijah, she in her house eat many days, barrel of meat, wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spake by Elijah. Then after that, her son fell sick. Wasn't no breath in it. She said, oh, Elijah, what I got to do with you, you man of Elohim? Are you, look at what this woman said. Look at the level of accountability she possesses. Verse 18. She said unto Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O thou man of Elohim? Hast thou come unto me to call my sin to remembrance and slay my son? The first thing she thought about is, my son done died. He came to call my sin to remembrance. First things niggas like to do is blame y'all. Oh, yeah, no doubt, Kira, no doubt. And he said unto her, give me thy son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him up in the loft where he abode, laid upon him on his own bed. He cried unto Yahuwah, O Yahuwah my Elohim, why hast thou brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourned by slaying her son? He stretched himself upon the child 3 times, cried unto Yahuwah, O Yahuwah my Elohim, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. And I heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again and revived. And you could look at him stretching himself out, crying. It's the same way how Yahushua prayed for that cup to pass 3 times, and then the Malachim came and strengthened him. Then you can also look at that as another example of, when Yahushua was raising people from the dead. And then Elijah took the child and brought him down the chamber into the house and delivered him to his mother. And Elijah said, see, that son live. And the woman said unto Elijah, now by this I know that thou art a man of Elohim, and that the word of Yahuwah in thy mouth is true. Then also when you look at that, you see how a prophet was bringing somebody back from the dead or breathing life in them by the faith that they had in Yahuwah. No law involved. Shows you how the resurrection of the dead will bring life into you. No law involved. Don't need nan type of law. Don't need no law for it. Don't need no law for it. Because the law not going to resurrect you from the dead. Your faith in Elohim will resurrect you from the dead. And through that faith, because you obeyed, you'll resurrect from the dead. We got to grab one more spot out of the law or we'd be insufficient. I got Exodus 30, which is the same thing that we just did. So we're not going to do that. I mentioned it earlier. Come to Numbers 35. I mentioned it earlier. Come to Numbers 35. We'll just do that. And then we'll finish in Romans 16, man. Call it a night. Numbers 35, right? Let's talk about the city of refuge. City of refuge says, hey, command the children of Yasharal, get the Levites an inheritance, this, that, then the third. But when you get in verse 9, it says it starts to tell you about appointing yourself cities of refuge, that the slayer may flee, which kill a person unaware. And we talked about this before. Remember Paul say, I did this ignorantly out of unbelief. When he called you to the gospel, you didn't know you were a transgressor. So this allows you to come into the city of refuge, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, because now you're protected from the sword of the slayer. Now you don't have to be killed. All you got to do is stay in your place of refuge. But if you come out that place of refuge by committing sin, you leave yourself open to be slain. Let's continue. When you look at verse 13, there'll be 6 cities you'll have. And then, verse 16 says, if he smite with an instrument of iron so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be surely put to death. If he smite with the throwing a stone where he die and he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall be put to death. Or if he smite him with the hand of a weapon of wood, wherewith he may die, and he die, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall surely be put to death. That sounds like what they did to a Mashiach. So guess what ends up happening? And I've told y'all this before. It's been a while. When you commit sin, it's just as if you said, crucify him, and you put the nail in his hands and his feet yourself. That's how serious that is. You are a murderer. Because he said, he that hateth in his brother in his heart without cause is a murderer. When you sin and you hate Yahuwah in your heart without cause, you's a murderer. That's a devastating understanding. Should cause a man to consider his ways. 19, the revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer when he meet him, and he shall slay him. But if he thrust him of a hatred, or hurl at him by lying of weight, that he die, or enmity smite him with his hand, that he die, he that smote him shall surely be put to death, for he is a murderer. So get what? You want to lie and wait like the Pharisee did? Because you had some hatred in your heart, you want to smite him? He said, don't worry about it. He said, if he thrust him suddenly without enmity, or having cast upon him anything without lying of weight or any stone wherewith, a man die, seeing him not, and cast it upon him. And then he said, the congregation shall judge between the slayer and the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall deliver the slayer out of the revenger of blood. So guess what? Yahushua will deliver you from your sin. He gonna deliver you from your sin. This is salvation, eternal. Something that's being broken down in judgments on how to deal with somebody when they kill somebody. Verse 26, he said, but if the slayer shall at any time come without the border of the city of his refuge, whither he was fled, and the revenger of blood find him without the borders of the city of his refuge, the revenger of blood kill the slayer, he shall not be guilty of blood. You know what that is? That's that Ezekiel 33, Ezekiel 18. You trusteth in your righteousness that you can go sin. You done came out your refuge. Because you needed refuge for your sin. And he gave you a refuge in the name of Yahushua. But you decided you was going to come out and sin. Now you get yourself exposed. Why be exposed? That's why he said, don't find yourself naked without your garments now. Because he should have remained in the city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the slayer shall return into the land of his possession. You should have stayed your butt where you was at. Look at verse 30. Whoso kill any person, the murderer shall be put to death by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify against any person to cause him to die. Moreover, you shall take no satisfaction for the life of a murderer, which is guilty of death. He shall surely be put to death. You shall take no satisfaction for him that is fled to the city of his refuge, that he should come again and dwell in the land until the death of the priest. You shall not pollute the land where you are, for blood it defile the land, and the land can't be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. They took satisfaction in Barabbas, and why you think one of the reasons why we can't come in the land yet? Because Yahushua's blood ain't been cleansed out of that land. It ain't been cleansed out of that land. He told you that in Isaiah chapter 4. You got to purge your sin through blood and fire. You shed this man's blood in this land. That land defiled. Yahushua got to come back through and shed some blood to get that land clean. All this stuff bear witness of him in the law. Even Exodus 32, people say, well, where does it say that Yahushua will come back after leaving in the law? I say, go read Exodus 32. It'll tell you about it. Moses went up on the mountain. What he said? Oh, he taking too long. And guess what they did? Just what we read. Oh, we need to get Romans 16 and 19. Just what we read in Luke 12. He taking too long. Let's eat and drink. Let's play. And when he came down off that mountain, them niggas got cut up. That sword caught him. It was bearing witness. I remember that one there because niggas used to always ask that. And my man's in Alabama. We live in Atlanta now. He asked about that and then hit me right then and there on the spot. Because nobody could answer that question. Like Bruce, like it's a lot of stuff that people be asking and people can't answer the question. You wonder why a lot of people walked away from a Mashiach. It's because these dudes had questions that people couldn't answer. Because they trusted in Moses. They didn't trust in Yahushua, so they wouldn't have the ability to answer it. 16 and 25 is sufficient of Romans. Now to him that is a power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach, according to the revelation of the mystery which was kept secret since the world began, but is now made manifest according to the scripture of the prophets, as according to the commandment of the everlasting Elohim, made known to the nations for the obedience of faith, To Elohim only wise be esteemed through Yahushua HaMashiach forever. Amen. So, hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. Let me tell y'all something, right? And we still got more to deal with that. Because when in understanding, that's how you would be a man, because you would understand that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. Because you understand that, you would be able to be beneficial to edify those around you. And of course, that would allow you to develop and become a man. But also the main key thing that we were looking at. There's one that accused you. Even Moses, in whom you trust. Do you not see that all that stuff in the law was accusing them people of what they ended up doing to Yahushua when they killed them? And that's who they trusted in. That's why he said that to them. He said, don't you take no satisfaction in no murderer. And they took satisfaction in the murder. I mean, Moses accused you of it and you did it. He said, don't you shed no blood in the land. They're going to defile the land. And they shed it. He told them circumcise their heart. They did not. It was accusing them, and they ain't even realize it. Because then, if they would have believed Moses, they would have believed Yahushua, because they would have known this the one. But they didn't believe Moses. They wanted to esteem in the Torah, that as we read in John 7, that they weren't even keeping themselves in order to make themselves feel righteous in the eyesight of men. Because they esteem the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. And as it says in John chapter 7, about verse 49, those that don't know the Torah are cursed. They damned. Because the righteousness of the Torah was made manifested without Torah, being witnessed of in Torah and the Tanakh for the salvation of men. But nevertheless, we'll be on Park Street, Yah willing, on tomorrow. Most High willing, we keep on trucking, keep on rolling, keep on moving. And prayerfully, Yahuwah, give us understanding to be able to see more, understand more, and become more, and to be more than what we've chose to settle for. You know what I'm saying? To continually push ourselves to be conformed to the image of his son, and to maximize every ounce of ability that we have in our body to be able to first and foremost serve each other, and then to facilitate whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So love all y'all and bless y'all out the house of y'all in the name of Yahushua. Stay strong, stay rooted in the faith. Do not deviate from the word. Master the word.